All right, guys, let's get right into the news that we have to cover today. This is an article on chess.com, and it says top Shaanxi grandmasters banned for life in Chinese chess scandal. Now, I might be mispronouncing it, but Shaanxi is Chinese chess. So let's get right into the article and let's start. So it says a major cheating scandal has rocked the world of Chinese chess and tarnished the reputation of one of China's most cherished traditional games. Okay. A number of the game's best players have been handed lifetime bans. Chinese chess, also known as Shaanxi, is a centuries-old game integral to Chinese culture. The sport is almost universally played, with its top players celebrated as stars. Now, an unprecedented series of scandals has rocked the sport and has led to a number of the country's best players to be penalized or even banned for life. For over a decade, such illegal activities have been hampering the healthy development of the sport, resulting in the manipulation of match results, the unfair distribution of prize money, and control of player promotions. Gao Hongyan, a deputy director of the Administrative Center and the secretary of its disciplinary committee, told China Daily. Okay. Here's the quote, and let's get right into it. It says, the scandal reached the public in September when the Chinese Shaanxi Association, the CXA, issued lifetime bans to Wang Yuefei and Wang Tianyi, two of the sport's most celebrated figures. 35-year-old Tianyi, the Magnus Carlsen of Shaanxi, is a four-time national champion and three-time world champion, and he has been top-ranked player for a decade. Yufei, 41, was the national runner-up in 2010 and a teammate of Tanya Hangzhou. Wow, so this is actually kind of shocking, no? This is a little bit surprising, I think. But you guys tell me. This seems pretty shocking. My pronunciation might be bad, so be it. Okay. The pair's downfall began with the leak of audio clips online, now known as Recording Gate. The leaks, totaling 12 minutes, revealed discussions between Wang Yuefei and another player, Hao Jinchao, about orchestrating match fixing. In one of the recordings, Yuefei warns Hao never mention his name on the phone. Remember, a reference to Wang Tianyi. The leaked recordings triggered a comprehensive investigation by the CXA and law enforcement, which uncovered additional incidents of corruption spanning over a decade. Now, this is actually kind of wild because, it's funny. In chess, there was obviously the Magnus audio talking to Nepo, but this is really, really bad, really bad. The investigation revealed Wang Tianyi's involvement in accepting bribes totaling 800,000 yuan, approximately $110,000, to manipulate game outcomes. Now, this actually shocks me. I don't know much about Chinese chess, but the fact that he was willing to throw games for a very low amount of $110,000 over 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, tells me that Chinese chess actually does not have a lot of money in it. Maybe even less than chess, if I'm not mistaken, but you guys in chat can tell me if that's correct or incorrect. $110,000, that's like, I assume that's over a decade, right? Because it says this was going on for 10 years. This was over the course of a decade. That means like he was fixing games for 10,000 bananas a year. $10,000 is insane. $10,000 a year? That's nuts. I was expecting to see a figure like 1 million or maybe 10 million or something, but $110,000? That's crazy. It's a lot of money over 10 years. Actually, it's not. That's $10,000, $10,000 or $11,000 a year over each year, and that's not I don't know. Again, maybe Chinese chess is much smaller than Western chess, but I actually thought it was a real thing. I thought it was a big deal. Like, for example, in Japan, there's this game called shogi, and the top shogi players, the top 5 players, I believe they all annually make over $1 million, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I seem to recall when I was there about a decade ago, I'm almost certain the top 5 players made over $1 million. So I assume that with Chinese chess, just like you have Japanese chess, also known as shogi, with Shaanxi, probably the top players were also making like $1 million as well. But maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong? There's got to be someone here who actually knows, who knows what it's like, or maybe they say it in the article. But I mean, I just assumed Chinese chess was like Japanese chess, shogi, and the top players all made like $1 million or more. Okay, let's keep going. The revelation didn't end there. On Sunday, the General Administration of Sport of China announced that a total of 41 Chinese chess players have been penalized following an investigation that revealed additional incidents of match fixing and bribery, according to Global Times. What? 41 players? That's no bueno. That's no good. That is no good. No good. Okay. Among them were top grandmasters Zhao Jinxin, Wang Yang, and Zhang Weitong, who received lifetime bans and had their titles revoked by the CXA. The investigation revealed widespread instances of match fixing and bribery, with some violations going as far back as 2012. This is not an article from April 1st. This is a legitimate article, you guys. The huge temptation of benefit for a high-ranking player to maintain his place and for a lower-ranking player to earn more money was too big to refuse sometimes in a game, especially between commercial clubs. Kai Yi, a former Chinese chess player and a lawyer with Beijing-based Deheng law offices, told China Central Television. Wow, okay. The chess world has also faced such cases of match fixing, prearranged games, and persistent rumors of bribery involving high-profile players either seeking to achieve titles like GM or IM or securing a cash prize in a tournament. Now, this, of course, is no surprise. It's funny because speaking of this, I actually said this I actually said this before, but I played a tournament in Hungary. I think this was 1999, if I'm not mistaken. I played the first Saturday tournament in Budapest, Hungary, and I was trying to chase IM norms. I think I was 11 or 12 years old at the time, very, very young. And I remember that tournament, there was one player, an international master, who basically played almost no games in the entire event. I think it was something like 10 games or maybe 11, whatever the exact number was. And something like 8 or 9 of his games were literally pre-arranged, like 12 move draws. So when I had to play this aforementioned player in like the 4th round of the tournament, the player because I was young and I was there with my mom, the player basically asked my mom, he's like, okay, does your son want to draw? Does he need to win? What result does he need? And if I don't have the numbers wrong, this of course is obviously 25 plus years ago now. I think it was like, if you need a draw, it was $50 US. If you need a win, it was $100. So basically the guy was there to collect his money and not actually play chess. Obviously I did not partake and I declined and I just promptly beat the guy in the game. Anyway, so didn't matter. But this is actually something in chess this is very common. People try to downplay it, but this happens a lot in Eastern Europe, happens all the time in Eastern Europe. So this is nothing new to me whatsoever. Okay. However, while I guess there's a tweet here. This is a typical. Okay, this is from Peter Heine Nielsen. It says 20 years ago on this day, I was offered and accepted a pre-game draw proposal by @Emil Satovsky, as it would mean we shared first place in the North Sea Cup. FIDE is turning a blind eye to pre-arranged draws, which indeed is hard to fight efficiently, but shouldn't be a part of our game. And then Emil says, I don't recall this case, but judging from the game, it looks pre-agreed indeed. However, pre-arranged draws always are seen as no sin or a very minor sin. Tal, Kasparov, etc. Everybody except for Fischer made quite a few of them, not to be mixed with throwing buying games. Now, this is also funny because isn't Emil Satovsky basically saying that the Russians or the Soviets were basically cheating in a sense? They all agreed to the right results, and what Bobby said at the time about them was correct. Isn't that what he's saying? So Bobby was actually the hero we need. Bobby Fischer was the hero, and Emil inadvertently is basically admitting that he prearranged games, and then he's also saying that the Russians were basically fixing everything, and Bobby Fischer was like the only guy who had to fight against the machine. It was like Rage Against the Machine. So that's actually really funny to see this. Anyway, let's see what else they say. However, while match fixing exists, most cheating cases in chess have been related to the use of computer software during games. The most high-profile case is the Ukrainian-born Romanian GM Kirill Shevchenko, who is currently under investigation by FIDE for an alleged incident of cheating after a phone was found in the bathroom during a tournament in Spain. Chess.com also recently reported on a scandal in Backgammon where a player was banned by the U.S. Backgammon Federation for a case of alleged cheating during a high-profile online event. So this is actually it's not a huge article to cover, but I am surprised. I mean, I thought they don't say anything about the salaries that Chinese chess players get, but $110,000 seems like so little, honestly. To do that, to get banned for life from the game that you love. I mean, I'm kind of like shocked. I don't know how you cheat in backgammon. Maybe you don't play the best moves. Maybe you roll a 4 and a deuce, and you roll you take the corner one and you move it over 6, and you smile at your opponent instead of making the point on your side of the board. I don't know. But at any rate, I am surprised by this, because I always assumed that Chinese chess was a big thing and their players got big salaries, similar to what you see in Japan with shogi, but apparently not. So 100K over 10 years. Over 10 years, I mean, are these players just not paid any money? I mean, I assume they're paid good money. I mean, they're the top Chinese chess players in the world. They're more famous than Ding Liren. I mean, you would think so, right? But I mean, I don't know. So anyway, okay, so that's the first article to cover. Actually, you know what? Is this a chess.com article or not? This is a chess.com article. Let's cover this article as well, because now I'm curious. Backgammon is a game that I love, and actually, if there's anybody watching from Norway, you probably wouldn't know this, but before the closing ceremony after Norway Chess, the 2 hours before the closing ceremony in 2024, I was actually playing backgammon in the lobby of the hotel against this guy who I think now works for chess.com, who is like a statistician guy, but he's considered to be like a really good backgammon player, like GM level. And I played for him for 2 hours before the closing ceremony. So I'm kind of curious to see what this article is. Okay, I love backgammon. Actually, another fact: back when I was struggling near 2600 GM, I was also in between rounds at the World Open in the when it was played in I think it was in the basement of somewhere. I forget, it was like 2005 or 6. It was the same year that I played against Emery Tate. Maybe it was 2008. It's the same year I played Emery Tate, the famous father of Andrew Tate. And that year, in between the games, or 2 games a day, like this tournament that Levy's playing in, and in between the games, I was playing backgammon for money. So yeah, back when I was a struggling, poor, broke boy who's a wannabe chess player. So let's get into it. Okay, chess is not the only sport to deal with cheating. Now the world of backgammon is rocked by its own scandal. The U.S. Backgammon Federation, USBGF, announced their decision last week following an investigation into cheating during the 2024 GMHikaru Cup, an online event between the UK and US women's team. Oh, but this is online. So then there's probably just like an engine or an app that tells you the absolute best move, right, on every turn statistically. That's probably it. It says the investigation confirmed that one of the USBGF members had engaged in unethical and unauthorized actions that violated fair play principles and official competition rules. As a result, Team USA required that match involving the player in question to be invalidated, leading to Team UK being officially declared the champions of the GMHikaru Cup. The barred player has not been named. Okay. Carl Schultz, chief of the USBGF, said in a statement the USBGF and members of Team USA expressed their deepest apologies to all competitors, commentators, and fans affected by the situation. The USBGF is committed to fostering a culture of trust, respect, and sportsmanship in the game of backgammon. The USBGF has issued strict sanctions against the offending player, who is now barred from participating in national events, both online and live. All matches played by the individual in 2024 will be invalidated. The World Backgammon Federation and the World Backgammon Internet Federation are applying similar sanctions. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is, unlike chess, I assume in backgammon, there aren't generally that many possibilities, right? So I remember when I was playing against the Turkish guy who works for chess.com in Norway, on the first turn when I rolled the 6 and the 4, you can either pull it from the corner on the other end all the way over, or you build the point on your end of the board. And if you're being very aggressive, you build the point on your end. If you're trying to play it a little bit more flexible, you move the one in the corner all the way out. Sorry if I'm trying to draw with my hands. I don't have a backgammon board handy to draw you some arrows and do some live play-by-play. But in general, just thinking about backgammon, I don't feel like you have that many options most of the time, right? So it's like you probably have two decisions, I'm guessing, at most. And probably statistically, it's going to be pretty clear cut what the best decision is. So this doesn't seem very nuanced to me. But anyway, let's keep going. Okay, details of how the cheating allegedly occurred have not yet been released. As in chess, a common way of cheating is the use of external software to find the best move on each turn. However, online backgammon sites have introduced effective anti-cheating measures, such as the analysis of move patterns inconsistent with human play and video call monitoring. In Reddit threads, several users have also pointed out that cheating in backgammon is more work than playing and translates only into a modest bump in the win rate, while cheating in chess can basically guarantee a win. Of course, because if your opponent's cheating with loaded dice and you're just using the software, they're going to roll those double sixes every time and you're screwed. Regardless, the women's world of backgammon said in a statement, cheating has always been the dark side of every sport. Backgammon is no different. Online tournaments make it much easier. The incident draws parallels with chess, which has dealt with numerous cheating scandals in recent years, most recently with the high-profile case of the Ukrainian-born Romanian GM Kirill Shevchenko. The 22-year-old is currently suspended pending an investigation following an incident of suspected cheating in Spain. Backgammon, on the other hand, has only had a handful of known cases. In 2022, a player was disqualified for illegal manipulation of a position to gain an unfair advantage. In the UK Open, Danish backgammon grandmaster Mark Olsen dismissed the ruling as disgraceful in the video, arguing the player had no reason to cheat in the particular position. Okay, so they don't really go into specifics, which is disappointing, but so be it. USBGF pointed out in their statement they're committed to protecting the game's values, fair play, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So they don't say anything. Thank you so much to In the Mud Sports for the host with 427 viewers. Thank you so much to In the Mud Sports. Thank you for the host. Hope everybody who's watching a sports channel is doing well. I am trying to play some chess here. I'm actually on my way out the door. But before we head out the door, one more article to cover.